Hello everybody, it's October the 21st, Zone 7 here in western North Carolina. Temperature is about 70 degrees. It's a beautiful day shaping up here. We have a series of 4 garden beds here, 2 main ones and then 2 minor ones. This is on the front part of the house, about 100 feet from where my previous videos were shot. We'll take them one at a time here, not much to see. But, you know, next spring, hopefully, things will improve. This little bed has been here a long time, was neglected for a long time. It's rhododendrons, and they haven't really had a chance because you would not believe how neglected they really were. Other plants, just a huge variety, vines, everything else, just strangled these rhododendrons out for years. They've probably been here like 15, 20, 25 years. They've been here a long time. We'll just have to see how it goes. Whenever I clean this bed up and put the edging around it and the mulch and everything, the plants themselves were pretty tall and spindly, and I did like a radical renovation on them. I cut them way back to try to get them to bush out. And this is a walnut tree that had come up in them. I would have liked to have left it. The rhododendrons actually did appreciate the little bit of shade that it got from the walnut tree, but it's right underneath power lines, and there's no way I could leave this in here underneath power lines. I already have an issue right there. That tree is next to some power lines. But the rhododendrons is the only thing planted in this particular bed here. Moving on, I've got, you can see these 2 quite large beds here. These were put in, if you want to call it put in, they're in the process of being put in. These were started only about 6 weeks ago, maybe 7 weeks ago. And they started out just like the surrounding area here, just a grassy area. And by the way, between this bed and this bed, or maybe between those 2 beds, I'm going to put an arbor between the beds and plant grapes on them next spring. That's the plan anyway. But yeah, to try to kill the grass out, I put down a fairly thick type of craft paper, and then I put a type of soil conditioner right here, and this is just really good stuff, and this will all be turned under come spring, and hopefully the grass will be dead. I don't know if we can tell much about how the grass is looking there. The grass is still not dead, so I'm going to be late planting these beds probably. I would like to plant before May. That's probably not going to happen. So you got this bed here. Here's my hoop house. I showed it at the end of the last video, which was shot from way over there on the far side of the house. But I will in just a moment take my plants out of the hoop house and just line them up so I can shoot what I'm going to be planting in these 2 beds. Mostly everything, absolutely everything inside that hoop house will be planted in that particular bed and in this particular bed. And here exactly between the 2 beds, we have about I guess it's an 8-sided smallish type of bed. And the only thing I'm going to have in here, you can tell one of them, these 3 plants, one of them did much better than the other one. Get my shadow out of the way. This is one of the Sonic Bloom Pink Weigelia. They'll get 4 to 5 foot tall at least. I've seen reports of some of them getting like 8 foot tall and several foot wide. So these Weigelia, Sonic Bloom Pink Weigelia, will fill in this entire bed. I may or may not stick some annuals in here in the meantime to kind of fill in, but I want them to be, if I do, they'll have to be short annuals because I don't really want them crowding out my Weigelia. This over here, there was a couple of shrubs planted in these 2 beds already. This is a redbud tree. I will probably be moving this. They can get pretty large. They can get 30 foot tall, and I don't really want a 30 foot tall tree in these beds here. I want these two beds, as much work as I've put into them, I want them to get some sunshine. This is some sort of lilac. It got transplanted here from another bed last summer. It's not done too well since then. Maybe it will shape up. Over here in this particular one, this is another lilac that got transplanted here. And this right here, I showed maybe in one of my previous videos, is the Shoal Creek Vitex. I took some cuttings off of it. That's why you can see it's a little on the short side. But originally I got two of these Shoal Creek plants, and this has always been the better looking one of the two. And stupid me, at first I took some cuttings off of the other plant. I should have been taking them off of this one all along, because I think just genetically it's the superior plant of the two. Okay, here in just a minute we'll take a look at what's inside the hoop house. For the purposes of this video, I opened up my hoop house and lined up individual plants so it would be much easier to not miss anything. And at the end of showing about these plants, I will tell a little bit about the hoop house. This is a May night salvia. This is a cutting I did not that long ago. It has grown just fantastically. I probably actually will start pinching it out here. You can see right there, if I pinch that out, it will send up two shoots there, because I like bushy plants in general. I don't like them to get too leggy, even though they do sometimes. This is a Millennium Garlic, and supposedly has really pretty globe-shaped purple flowers that's on spikes that it sends up. This one never has flower. This is in its second year. I'm moving it from my other garden. It was where the squirrels kept trampling over it. So, like I say, I tend to blame everything on the squirrels that goes wrong. And here lately I've been blaming them on the starlings, which have only just now found me. Unfortunately, I wish that hadn't happened, believe me. European starlings, just an aggressive, pushy, obnoxious bird. But this is Millennium Garlic. I'm hoping it will flower out here. It looks like if I really wanted to, I could divide it, which, you know, is kind of surprising since it's never bloomed, and it looks like it could be divided even. But I'm going to wait another year or two before dividing it. This is another dwarf red buckeye, Escala pavia, and this one really does have some quite nice buds on it. As I stated in a previous video, they lose their leaves as early as August every year. This is another red yucca. I thought I would transplant a couple out here from the other garden. Not the ones I showed the other day. These have been in a pot a while. This is Furman's Red Autumn Sage, another transplant from the other garden. And it never really thrived out there, but just immediately when I put them in the pots, it started doing better. I mean, like 2 days later, it looked better than it ever had. Here is a plant I planted from seed this past spring. Blue Bedder Sage, B-E-D-D-E-R, sage. Some people call it mealy cup sage. It got up about 6 inches tall and just kind of died back, and then came back from the bottom. This is some sort of lavender I planted from seed. I've got 3 of them. The seed says True Lavender on it. I think it's an English lavender, maybe one of the older forms of lavender. This is a Crocosmia lucifer, which I planted from seed. And I showed some that I planted from corms or bulbs, whichever you want to call it, this past spring. Moving on, we have 3 different salvias here. We have Wild Thing salvia. Not much I can tell you about them. I haven't really studied up enough to have it embedded in my memory, but suffice it to say that hummingbirds are supposedly like all these salvias just about. This is Maraschino Cherry salvia. Probably can't tell that much difference from the Wild Thing, to tell the truth of the matter. And this is Hot Lips salvia. Really, all 3 of these have a a similar type of overall appearance, but there's subtle differences in them. Here we have a Lochnish butterfly bush. Let's see, maybe you can see that spell there. Anyway, white profusion butterfly bush. These are supposed to get quite large. Orange scepter butterfly bush right here. The orange scepter, I found out after I bought it that it is a zone 8 plant, this being zone 7 here, so we'll just have to see how it does. I know it'll be okay this particular winter because I'll have it in this hoop house, but after it gets out on its own, who knows. And lastly, on the butterfly bushes, we have the Black Knight butterfly bush. It's supposed to get quite large too. I think it and the white profusion will be the two large ones. Here we have a Tennessee coneflower. As you can see, I have it protected. I don't really have much rabbit and deer problems here, but this is the lone exception. This Tennessee coneflower was eaten all the way to the ground. It was about 7 or 8 inches tall. Right now it's probably about 4. But yeah, a rabbit just went all the way to the ground with it. However, I'm afraid the ultimate disposition of this plant will be that the rabbits will continue to eat it to the ground until it dies. And lastly on the plants, another salvia. This one is Silky's Dream. So that's 4 different salvias we've got here. This one, this seems like it has a larger growing habit than the other salvias, so I'm going to say it ultimately gets larger than the other salvias. Silky's Dream. Okay. Now, about the hoop house. I did go with the treated lumber since this is not a vegetable bed and it's not intended as any kind of raised garden bed. This is just for protection of my plants. So because of that reason, I did go with the treated lumber so it would last a little bit longer. I ordered these corner pieces here as a kit. It's not the most expensive kit. I think I got 4 of these for 20 bucks. It was on Amazon, I believe. They do make some of these which are much nicer and much more expensive. The ones that have kind of a built-in slot, which really, in a way, you don't even hardly have to, on those, you don't even hardly have to put screws in them because you could just slot your lumber down into the slot that's on each side here. And you could disassemble the thing really easy, which this here is not going to be disassembled. But okay, I got these corner pieces. This bed is 8 foot by 4 foot, 12 inches wide. I got it as 2 different boards at Lowe's and had them cut it up for me. And this is a separate kit here, these brackets. I've got 10 brackets holding 1/2 inch PVC pipe. And one thing, see, it gets cold here. I wound up drilling a hole in the bottom of each bracket because they're watertight, and I really think in this area that they would fill up with water the first winter and bust. So I would like to see them put a hole in the bottom themselves, but I guess since, you know, they ship to places where it doesn't freeze, they would rather not do that. And along with the bracket kit, these little clips also came. And these are pretty nice. I went ahead and took the extra precaution of putting like my big clamps here at the bottom of my spun bonded polyester is what I call this floating row cover. It's what most people call this. You know, air goes through it, water goes through it, but hopefully the cold not so much. But yeah, I still put my clamps on the bottom, even though maybe with these clips I don't have to, probably don't, but I took that added precaution anyway. Maybe someday I'll get brave enough not to put the clamps on it and see how it goes, but I would hate to come out here and see my plants all exposed to the 10-degree weather or something. So I think that's going to be pretty much it for this particular video. I think the next video will probably be, I'll be showing my my grow room, which not a whole lot to see there, but it might be interesting. All right, so long everybody.